Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra, and this is our special edition where we're going to be focusing on understanding if your SIPs in mid and small cap funds or stocks are safe or not. But why this question? Well, a very seasoned fund manager, S Naren, started this debate after all. In one of the events that he was present at, he was asked about the SIPs in mutual funds in the mid and the small cap space. And he categorically talked about saying that this is the time that one should look to take out lock, stock, and barrel from small and mid caps. And he also clarified by saying that until and unless investors have a 20-year time horizon, this is not the time to stay invested in small cap stocks or funds. Now, this has raised this debate to really find out whether our investments are regular, systematic investment plans that we have in mid and small cap funds are actually safe. Will they actually deliver good returns or not? Now, to help you really understand the current scenario, also, there has been some concern about the January AMFI data where there is some risk about, SIP inflows reducing. Then there is some folios getting closed as well. So what exactly is the current scenario like? What are top market experts and investors really telling investors to do at this point in time is what we'll try and help you out with. We have seasoned, investors with us on this show. We have Mr. Feroze Azeez, the Deputy CEO of Anand Rathi Wealth, and we will also be joined by Pankaj Mathpal, founder and MD of Optima Money Managers in a while to discuss and debate this further. Feroze, warm welcome and good to have you with us. This clearly is something that you would have been really looking at very closely over the last 3 days or so. I want to first understand, what is the idea that we used to have is when we used to tell retail investors is that have a long-term horizon with your SIPs. And, the longer that you hold, the better it is and the better returns that you get. But all of this is coming under question because there are questions being raised by not anybody, but, very seasoned fund managers. So what exactly is the basis of what Mr. S. Naren has said?
Actually, see, Mr. S. Naren would have said it in a different context. In a small group, he might be speaking to a person who's got 90% in small cap. How do we know? I don't think Naren spoke about this in a TV interview where he was having an uncontrolled audience. He was speaking in Chennai in a small event where people might have got 70% in small cap. So to bring them out of small cap, you can't make them make very, very small statements, right? So quite a few people have also gone into another extreme and gone 80%, 90% small cap. That happened. I was speaking to somebody in my building today, right? And he says, I've got 90% small cap. So he might be addressing an audience which has overexposed to small cap. If he gave a passing remark, kam kar do, क्या कोई सुनता है? नहीं सुनते हैं. जब strong statement मारते हो, तो then there's a probability that 80% small cap comes to 40% small cap. That's why that could have been said. Okay, I don't know the context. So that's point one. If Naren would have said it in a TV interview that small caps are only a buy if it's 20 years, it's unlikely. But that's not commenting on what Sir said. Naren Saab said, we all respect because he is the CIO for the second largest asset management company with a responsibility of 8.5 lakh crores approximately. So now coming to the more important point of data. Data ये कहता है, we analyzed last 24 years 10-year SIP returns in Nifty mid cap and Nifty small cap. If there are 109 investors who started their SIP at different points in time, first of every month, and stopped the SIP 10 years from there.
Okay.
Out of the 109, there's a 0.4% chance that a small cap fund after 10 years, not even a fund, a small cap index, 0.4%, you could have got marginal negative return. Nifty gave all 100 times positive return. Nifty mid cap gave 100 times positive return. So SIP में आपके पैसे बनेंगे या नहीं बनेंगे, म्यूचुअल फंड पे नहीं निर्भर करता कि आप उसको नहीं छेड़ेंगे 10 साल तक, तो बनने की संभावना 99% से ऊपर है स्मॉल कैप में भी, एंड दैट टू एट इंडेक्स लेवल. नाउ देयर आर 2 स्मॉल कैप फंड्स इन माय मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो.
Yes.
And I am very proud to say Invesco small cap fund has fallen 1% more than Nifty from September 26, 2014, when Nifty touched the peak of 26,200.
Okay. Okay, fair point. Let's also get in Pankaj Mathpal on the conversation. Pankaj ji, we are actually debating about, whether one should continue with their SIPs, pause them. I think that's the big question that has been raised over the last 48, 72 hours. Do tell us, how long an horizon should one really have when it comes to mid and small caps as an ideal to really make money? Feroze did give us some data points as to how he has seen Nifty vis-a-vis small caps perform. But you tell us, what do you tell retail investors at large when they plan their SIPs for long term for mid and small caps?
Thank you, Sakshi. I was hearing to Feroze and I fully agree with him what he said that in last 10 years or any period of time, if you see 10 years, your returns are not negative. But the question is, if you talk about mutual fund, SIP mutual fund in general, so definitely means uh, the time is good and you should continue your SIP. But if you are talking about especially small cap and mid cap, only thing that if you have been investing, there is no need to stop your SIP, but your investment horizon should be really long. When you invest in mutual funds, especially equity-oriented mutual funds, whether large cap or diversified equity funds, minimum 5 years should be your investment horizon. If you're talking about small cap especially, it should be minimum 10 years. So with the investment horizon of 10 years, if you have started investing, I say if you started 1 year ago or within 1 year, ideally you should have started in diversified fund like large and mid cap or flexi cap kind of funds. But still, if you started within 1 year in a small cap, then also you can continue your SIP provided your investment horizon is 10 years or longer than that. But what happens, we have seen this when there's a rally in the market, more and more investors choose to invest in a particular segment of the market or in the particular theme or sector, which is wrong. So ideally, if you have a long investment horizon, you continue your SIP in small cap as well.
Fair point. Now, Feroze, on the data points again, we've just seen the how the Jan data has come out. Tell us, what are the reasons that you believe that could have triggered some kind of an outflow when it comes to, investments in small caps, as well as the SIP flows? Are there redemptions due to some reasons that are peculiar to this, environment right now? Or is this a trend that usually happens in every cycle? How should one really understand what we are reading out on a day-to-day basis today?
Sakshi, the question for me.
Yes, Feroze.
Yes, great. Sakshi, see, what happens is September 26 ko peak gayi thi market. Now
Yes.
where are we? We are at some degree of trough, not at 54 lows. If you look at a 30 group of funds who are supposed to have a similar objective, will they all not be at troughs or at least not at their peaks when they all are supposed to be investing in the 250 stocks carved out as the universe, at least 65% of their money? So will they go up together, go down together? If they're small cap funds, the answer is at least the direction will be identical. Point one. Point two, there are funds which have fallen 12%. UTI small cap fund from 26 September has fallen 12%. There is another fund which has fallen 20%. But what I'm saying is data sometimes can tell you what you push it to tell you. Now you look at the inflows of January. I'm saying 5,200 crores has come into small cap funds, which is the highest I have seen. But if you look at the SIP data, net data, the same data will tell you that it is SIPs have stopped. So point I'm trying to make is data can be massaged to speak what you want it to speak. But if you look at clean, orderless data, it says that people are investing in small cap. Why are they investing? Are they investing an obscene amount of money? The answer is no. India has, let's assume, 30 lakh crores of households, money in mutual funds. We have 3 lakh crores in small cap. क्या 10% small cap में नहीं होना चाहिए इंडिया जैसे देश में? आप बताएं. Right? हम टीवी शो करते हैं तो हम बोलते हैं 20% should be in small cap. But India has only allocated 10% in small cap, and still people are thinking there's so much money coming into small cap. Where is the money? Out of 30 lakh crores, if 20 lakh crores comes into small cap, I believe, I would say that, अंधों की तरह लोग पैसे डाल रहे हैं. But
जी.
3 lakh crores on a 30 lakh crore base, why is it bothering so many people? I can't understand. That's a reasonable asset allocation for India as a whole.
Okay, let's get Pankaj ji here. Pankaj ji, I think about 6 months ago, we got it, from SEBI directions coming into AMFI. Please stop any lump sum investments to mid and small caps. There is a lot of fraud. Valuations are very, expensive at this point in time. That happened, and the markets, every time they consolidated or corrected, bigger corrections were seen on mid and small caps. Even as of yesterday, on an intraday level, the small caps did test a bear market scenario. 21% from their peak is what they have fallen. Mid caps about 17%. So, how are you really understanding the froth in the situation? Is it there? Is there valuation discomfort? And to what Feroze also did say, that the data still is that, people are not going overboard when it comes to the small cap investments. But why is the SEBI really saying so?
See, what Bruce said, he said that out of total asset under management of the mutual fund,
Yeah.
the small cap is a small percentage of that. But it depends on the investor. See, um, in many cases, I can see that investors are over invested in small caps because of the rally in small cap. So that is wrong. If in your portfolio, forget the total industry, I'm saying on the investor level, if you feel that small cap is 10 to 20% of a portfolio, nothing wrong. You should continue. See, if you invest through multi-cap fund, then also you know that minimum 25% allocation of the multi-cap will be in small cap. So if you're making your own portfolio where you invest, say, large amount in large cap, a small and mid cap and small cap, nothing wrong in that. So as long as you are maintaining a proper asset allocation, diversification in your portfolio, it is good. Only thing what we saw in last 1 year, many investors, they invested in thematic funds more than the diversified funds, or they invest in small cap fund just because those segments or those categories delivered better returns than the diversified funds. So that is wrong. Otherwise, if your portfolio are maintaining a proper allocation between different asset classes and between different market segments, you should continue your SIP. But if you are investing a lump sum amount at this moment, then definitely after correction also, I feel that valuations are not reasonable. You should skip your investment in small cap at the moment. Later, you
Okay.
can rebalance your portfolio. That can be a better strategy. Or flexi cap kind of funds can be a better choice where fund managers, they can decide the allocation in the fund itself.
So, Pankaj, are you suggesting that those people who have a little higher exposure to small caps in their investment portfolio, at this point in time, it is better to continue SIPs in flexi cap rather than continuing in small caps at this point?
Exactly. If you have higher allocation somehow because of this greed, maybe, or because of any reason, if you have higher allocation in small cap, or one reason could be that you invested a small amount, but because of higher returns, now your portfolio has higher allocation in small cap. In that case, also, my suggestion that you can rebalance your portfolio and increase your allocation in large cap, either directly or through flexi cap, because most of flexi cap funds have higher allocation in large cap. The
Sure.
advantage of investing in flexi cap because it gives flexibility to the fund manager, and wherever the valuation will be reasonable in small cap, the chances they will increase the allocation. And at this point of time, means the allocation can be lesser in small cap, but yes, you have to see fund wise because all the funds are not managed in the same way.
Sure. Okay, we'll get Feroze's view on this as well. Feroze, just like how the point that I was making, already 21% lower from the peaks for for small caps and for mid cap 17%. How much more downside do you see? And at this point in time, would you expect investors to double down their investments if they are not overtly invested in mid or small caps, or would you ask them to stay cautious?
I would suggest, like Pankaj Saab said, overexposure hai, to aap small cap you can reduce it. Overexposure, by which I imply anything which is significantly more than a model portfolio, because that's the expression of how much should be in small cap. We are 18% in small cap. If you have 36%, that, in our opinion, is an overexposure. right? So overexposure of anything more than 25-30% in small cap space definitely deserves some money off the table. Point one. Point two, I personally think that how much more downside or upside depends on the time. So I can't answer that question unless I put time frames.
Okay.
If you ask me, a lot of pain of small cap is behind us. And small cap is one universe which I don't like to use in English words because there are 250 stocks.
Okay.
Overvaluation of small cap is a wrong statement to make in my judgment because there is one small cap stock in the NSE small cap 250, which is what
Okay.
mutual fund guys follow, which has a 967 P. Okay, that's
Okay.
called Best Life Food World Limited. वो भी NSE small cap 250 में है, उसकी P 1000 के करीब है. There's also
Okay.
another stock, which is Great Eastern Shipping Company, which has a
Okay.
P of 4.88. How can you use one English word to describe something which is at 5p and one is at 1000p? So small cap is all about bottom up. There is generic statements are very scary when it comes to, and second thing, small cap, when a retail investor, Shakshi, when your viewer is hearing small cap, he is going by the word small cap. Let me
बिल्कुल.
tell you which is the largest company in small cap, which has a market cap of 52,000 crores. Right? 52,000 crores ki market cap. A retail niveshak is not considering that as small. He might be
Correct.
thinking small means 1,000 crore company, 2,000 crore
Yes.
company. So
Yes.
English words hide more than they actually state.
Fair point. Okay, Pankaj, I'll come to you for your for closing comments and helping us understand as to the directions and clear rules that one really needs to follow when it comes to SIP in general and especially when it comes to mid and small caps.
Yeah, see, Sakshi, first thing, as Feroze mentioned just now, that there are 250 companies, especially we talk about small cap index. But the question is, are you investing even in small cap index? You are investing in actively managed fund, mostly. And when investors invest in an active fund, there are chances that in any segment, there will be good companies at every time. So that is why it is, as Feroze also said, it's a wrong thing to say that overvalued, undervalued. See, if you can identify good companies in any segment, any point of time, I feel that there is a good scope of investment. So, considering that fact, investor must have in their portfolio some allocation in small cap as well, whether directly or indirectly. And when you do SIP, your horizon should be based on your goal or your choice of schemes should be based on your investment horizon. If you want to
Okay.
invest for some 2-3 years, then definitely I'll say hybrid fund will be a good choice. If you want to invest for something 5-7 years, then these diversified funds can be a better choice. But if you want to invest for retirement, and in that case, I feel that you should have some allocation in small cap, mid cap, when the investment horizon is 15, 20 years longer. So, based
Okay.
on your objective of investment, your risk appetite, your investment horizon, you should decide that what kind of portfolio you should have. But important is that portfolio should be across asset classes, across the market segments, and and means there should be a different themes and different sectors in the portfolio.
Okay, Firoz, to you, do's and don'ts of SIP investments that investors, retail investors at large must know every time we see a downward cycle and every time we see an upward cycle. And of course, when it comes to small caps, which is our basis of our conversation today.
Yes,
Yeah.
so don't look at it very often. Forget it for 10 years. If you can't forget it for 10 years, then you will not make money. That's first rule. Just imagine calling the broker and asking him every day, what is my property's price? He will stop picking your call at the 15th day. So why are you so possessive about looking at values of equity just because they're being published on an app? Doesn't mean we see it. So SIP is like a property investment, which people are okay to own a property for 10 years, but they're not okay with SIPs for 10 years. So if you can do that, so the biggest don't is don't pluck the plant and check every day and plant
Okay.
it back. The tree will never come to your life. You will never be able to see that being a tree ever. So that's one. Second is have SIPs in 4-5 funds. There is also now going to be a rule of 250 rupees per fund per SIP. That implies that you can have further diversification. If you buy 4 schemes, it's likely that you will have 200-300 stocks in your portfolio. Don't be too perturbed. Trust your fund manager to give you long-term returns of 14-15% compounded if you stay invested.
Fair point. Okay, Feroze, and thank you so much to both of you for enlightening our viewers and at least clarifying all that vague, doubts that everybody is coming up with when it comes to SIPs. SIPs are here to stay. That's, I think, the bottom line, and SIPs should be a part of your portfolios. You should definitely have long-term horizon. Pankaj did point out, find out how long a horizon you have, then look at the schemes and choose your funds accordingly. Feroze also did point out that, of course, we have seen, as data has pointed out, things have always been 99% of the times you have made profits when it comes to long-term horizon in both the Nifty, the large caps, as well as in the small cap space as well. But yes, you have to back your data and your research and take an advice from financial advisors. You can respectively go across to Pankaj Mathpal's organization and Feroze's organization, Anand Rathi Wealth, and you can definitely seek professional advice, because these are the people who've been looking at the markets and investments for fairly too long, 2 decades, 3 decades, and 4 decades as well. So that's the kind of wealth of experience that they share, and this is why we clearly, had this conversation today. I hope all the retail investors have had all their doubts regarding SIPs in the current market scenario. In case you still have more doubts, please do send in your queries to us on the comment section. We can also do another conversation with both Feroze and Pankaj to clarify any of your doubts if you still have them. Send us your queries and we will take your live queries as well with both our guests. Thank you so much for both of you for being with us on this special edition. With that, viewers, we wrap up this special conversation. Up next is Daily Calls, where we answer your stock market related queries. So send in all your questions. On the other side, I'll join you with Daily Calls.
Karnataka is the 4th largest automobile producing state in India, contributing 8.5% to the nation's vehicle production. The state also has the highest number of EV charging stations, boasting an impressive 5,765 public stations. We were the first to introduce an EV policy in 2017 and will soon unveil a clean mobility policy at our upcoming Global Investors Meet. Backed by our progressive policies, world-class infrastructure, and a skilled workforce, Karnataka is paving the way for growth in both traditional and EV sectors. Join us at Invest Karnataka 2025 and be a driving force in the future of automotive and EV innovation.